All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. And yeah, I hope everyone had themselves a fantastic weekend. Feel refreshed, recharged, and ready to go. And yeah, hopefully everyone had themselves a pretty good weekend, pretty good trading week there last week. So looking to build off of that. Yeah, definitely feeling better. My like resting heart rate's kind of back to where it should be. My heart rate variability is kind of back to where it should be. So definitely am a little bit or significantly healthier. I do have a little bit of a lingering cough, but hopefully nothing too bad. But yeah, excited to see what markets have in store for me here today. Honestly, probably expected a little bit more enthusiasm here pre-market. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, but yeah, kind of a curious start here, and let's just basically see, right, like how awake or how alive, however you want to describe it, right? Price action is here today. Ideally, here we're looking for clean, consistent narratives. We want to avoid like tech issues, right? From just like a trading view perspective. So last week, right, the way that trading view was reflecting price on ES1 was just kind of a pain in the ass. So hopefully that's fixed here today. And yeah, besides that, looking to basically continue the narratives that we established there last week. Look for strong continuation stories. Look for, like kind of the fake out first is what we've effectively been doing here the last few days. And so pursuing that, right, keep pushing that story. That's sort of what I want to focus on here today. And if we can establish that, it should be a lot of fun. If not, no worries. It is what it is. Happy to sit on hands, and that's sort of the mindset I want to approach, right, or attack as I go after it here today. So either I'm getting my A+ setup, or like the strongest sort of bit of price action that I can possibly find, or I'm not getting a trade, right? That's almost like how I want to position myself. Last week, I should say, we saw how calm, I guess, or like how much smoother it feels, right, for us to have those types of trading weeks where every decision is deliberate, where every decision is under control, and that's a really fun and kind of like rewarding place to be, especially because we're effectively getting into like a little bit of a window here. You get a little bit of a tradable window of like really nice price action, kind of going from like say mid-September nowish, right, till sort of U.S. Thanksgiving. And so we're kind of in the start of now what is one of my favorite trading periods of the year. And yeah, hopefully we can get ourselves a little bit of joy here and a little bit of enthusiasm before I start trading from the road for a little bit. So yeah, let's get after it here. Let's set ourselves up for a big and profitable trading day. And yeah, hope everyone had themselves a fantastic weekend. Last thing here, how about them birds, huh? Absolutely dominating performance there yesterday by the Eagles. Incredible game. And yeah, hope everyone had themselves obviously just the best NFL Sunday. All right, so economic calendar here today looking pretty chill. All things considered, it's a Fed heavy week, right? Just ton of Fed speak. We're going to basically start looking for clues from them if they're going to be increasing the pace or like the size of the rate cuts that they started there last week. The big one here is going to be tomorrow. PMI, GDP might be a bit interesting on Friday, Thursday. But by the looks of it, it's just going to be a heavy narrative week. So let's make sure that we can, really manage that here with some enthusiasm. All right. Yes. So today's Monday, right? So that means we're looking at two things from Friday. So we're looking at Friday's volume, right? And we're looking at Friday's candle color / shape, and then today's pre-market, right? So Friday's volume decreasing, Friday's candle green. So it's 1 for 3 here to the upside, right? So Friday's a green candle, but it's decreasing volume. And then this morning, right, the implied move or the implied open is lower than the close, or we can visualize that with a red candle. So it's a gap down. So it gives us a 1 for 3 there to the upside, i.e. non-trending price action. And we're hopeful that we can get ourselves a trending narrative here today or reestablish those types of conditions to the upside here, right? We're going to be looking at 67.30 as kind of our end game point, right? That's effectively going to be all-time highs. Yes, 67.20 is still reasonable, right? 23 is the pre-market high, so I'm going to keep that as is. To the downside here, we're going to be looking at it has to be 700, but 700 is already kind of going to be taken care of by the indicator. So I'm going to go just 66.90 as my starting point here to the downside. And then we're going down towards 80, right, which is Friday's low, and then down towards sort of 60 and beyond. So if the stream is full, right, you can watch it on YouTube. There is that link available to you there. My recommendation, Austin, would be to use the Discord audio and the YouTube video. But there is the backup link that is always available to everyone. Okay, NQ. So green candle, right, on Friday, decreasing volume there on Friday. And then so far here today, right, we are gapping down. So again, 1 for 3 there to the upside. To the starting point here, we're still looking at that 24.9. Not much should be changing there. Austin, can you confirm you got that instruction that makes sense? To the downside here, we're looking 600. That doesn't need to change too much. Brian, when you score 26 points unanswered in the second half, that is a dominating performance. All right, and we're going down 500, fine. So not much needs to change from that perspective, looks reasonable. Okay, CL. So this is going to be a little bit challenging for us to trade here today, just because of the size of the overnight move, right? It's technically breaking down here. And so our limit is going to be 5%, so about $59. Can't really go much further than that. Gives me about $2 worth of room here pre-market. It is a 3 for 3 to the downside, right? Kind of looks like a bear flag breakdown or a channel breakdown, something along those lines. I am NA, right, to the upside here on CL because it's telling me that it's, that's why I'm saying use the Discord audio. And guys, people, we need to stop overstating the latency on YouTube. The latency is less than 3 seconds. Like, it is not going to be the difference, right? If I tell you what my entry price is, if you understand the technique, there's going to be zero difference. So I cannot comprehend that as an excuse from people. It is not anything significant at all. Why we use YouTube. If we were to use like a Twitch or something along those lines, it would be 30 seconds. But yeah, it's a trending market here to the downside, right? So I don't have a bull case that I'm willing to trade, or I'm not willing to front run that bullish narrative until I see some sort of confirmation or consistency, right, to indicate that bulls are in control. That's not going to happen until I get a nice green candle here on a daily time frame. So today I'm looking for trend continuation or like retests and breakdowns. Okay. So Apple, it's a 3 for 3 here to the upside, but that volume is going to be a little bit deceptive, right? Because we had option expiration there on Friday. It was a triple witching event, right? So you're expecting there to be a lot of forced buying and selling. Even something like this Tesla, right? It's an inside bar, but it's an inside bar on increasing volume, which I think is just generally a little bit greasy. It's kind of like my least favorite pre-market type of condition. I also was maybe expecting there to be a slightly larger gap up on Tesla here this morning, just because of the picture that was at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, right? So there was a picture of Elon Musk and Trump, sitting beside each other, shaking hands, kissing babies together, whatever you want to call it. I maybe would have expected that to have a slightly larger pump here on Tesla this morning, but it could be a catalyst that pushes things higher here this AM for sure. Again, Microsoft 2 out of 3 to the upside with volume. And again, we know a lot of that volume is going to be from the futures roll, so should not be anything significant whatsoever. And then we are looking at a 235 here, higher high, higher low. It's technically a 3 for 3 to the downside, but it kind of looks like a doji. Okay, NVIDIA. A green candle, increasing volume, gap down. 2 out of 3, weak 2 out of 3 with vol. AMD, green candle, decreasing volume, 1 cent gap down. Let's go. So we'll go 1 for 3 there to the upside. Still not used to the size of this keyboard. It's driving me nuts. All right, Meta red candle, increasing volume, gap up, right? So implied open here this morning is higher. So that looks like a 2 out of 3 to the downside with volume. Again, we're expecting a lot of these tickers to have increasing volume and for that volume to not mean too much here today. Google 2 out of 3 with volume again. And then maybe VIX being a little bit healthier here at 16.05. Nothing crazy, but still maybe a little bit more of a volatile environment, or at least there being like a little bit of an expectation of there being some volatility. So, very excited to see what basically is in store here today. All right. So couple things to mention here before we start the trading day. One, I'm bringing on a video editor for DTR. So what that individual is going to be responsible for is taking all the trades we take in the live stream and turning them into like an individual YouTube video. So the trade from start to finish. I think that'll be a very powerful tool for everyone have the opportunity to effectively review that and have those trades. If you guys I don't know. I rant and I rave and I do a lot of things. And sometimes we go over concepts or topics in the stream that would also be very beneficial educational material. If there's something that you guys feel is awesome, send me a message of, hey, Michael, I think this would be a good YouTube video or whatever. And we'll get that edited up as well. Expect there to be a slight delay on these trades being posted just because of how YouTube takes to process the stream. So I would expect there to be like a 24-hour turnaround. So like if we get some trades here today, I would hope that today's trades are published at like noon Eastern tomorrow, right? Something along those lines. So there would be that potential delay. But besides that, I think that's going to be a really powerful tool for us, and excited to get that going. All right, so see how the open is. We're kind of hoping for a slightly bigger range than we saw on Friday. Friday wasn't a very big range day. We'd like to see smooth price action here today, right? That's kind of the hope and dream. Again, I want it to be perfect, not necessarily just entertaining. I want to almost be like academic in how I'm executing my trades, right? This week again versus trading for like a, I don't know, entertainment value or to feel better or to do whatever. That's usually a pretty empty feeling. I don't know, maybe it's like the weird thing about trading, but the longer you trade and the more you win, the more you want to keep winning, but like the less rewarding each individual win feels. And so I think there's like a little bit of a desire, right, subconsciously to like be hyper aggressive to get back to that like feeling of a winning trade. And I think that's a little bit of a blinder, right? So that can mean either taking a lot of decisions so that you get like the dopamine, right, of that reward. Or it could mean like oversizing or over risking or not being willing to admit a losing trade, like ignoring stop losses or averaging down or those types of bad habits. And yeah, I think the more that I can acknowledge that that's kind of the reality, or how like the emotional risk reward is maybe a little bit skewed, I think it'll be easier to maintain just a little bit of that discipline that we did last week, right? Last week I was very happy with how I traded. But more of that, right? More of the same. I'm just going to go fill up my coffee 1 second. All right, so not the most interesting second candle here. like potentially a bit of a fake out, right? The first move above the opening range is not holding. So, right, immediately we know that our first setup that we're looking at here is that bullish failure thesis. Now, obviously, we don't have confirmation of that here yet because the volume profile just is not significant. Yeah, guys, the December contract is what we're going to be trading until December now at this point, right? So it's the forward contract on NQ1 and ES1 at this point. That should be the same as just the raw December contract. There should be no difference, right? Which I can't see in the prices. So we will keep trading it up until the next roll, which will be December 16th. How was everyone's weekend? Everyone had a good weekend? I feel like I've only talked about myself here this morning. Good. Love it. Nice, Mike. Great to hear, Harv. Oh, no, Sonia, I'm sorry to hear that. Is riding horse riding, or is that something else, Blue? Motorcycle. Oh, really cool. Not sure why I thought horse riding. Probably just shows the hobbies my sisters had growing up. Hey, appreciate that, Texas Trader. Much appreciated. That's a good tip. So effectively, guys, right? So what happens with YouTube, if you ever have any buffering or whatever, there's some sort of glitch, it doesn't necessarily automatically kick you back to live. So if you set your playback speed to always be 2x, if there's any buffering or anything along those lines, it'll catch you up to real time. So far, so slow though, this open. Sounds like we might have to do a DTR overlanding trip at some point here, Kyle. It's a little bit more like a rejection here now. Still do not have that increasing volume standard. So we're still waiting, right, for some oomph to show up in these tickers. Wouldn't say we're quite there yet. I also wouldn't indicate that it's necessarily the strongest trend day here. At least not early. We've almost careful how I want to phrase this, but it's almost like we get two types of market structures. When you have a decent pre-market move, it's almost like the market breakout or the separation occurs after that move has been digested. So kind of like post 10 a.m. type thing. And then if you have a really quiet overnight market, then you don't get too much of a move. That's kind of when it feels like you get a big open. If we can get some of those scenarios to sync up here today, I think that would be a lot of joy. The like I mentioned this periodically, team, and this is for the DTR premium members. This is where you guys are eligible to vote. Look, if you would prefer for Zoom to be the alternative, right, versus YouTube, we could set that up, right? That wouldn't be a problem. Or as like a backup link or whatever, you know, would be happy to introduce that. It is just really hard to find a affordable, low latency streaming option. I looked into some with like, you know, people that host like sporting events or like high school events, stuff like that. And it would just be very, very expensive, like a couple $100,000 a year for the license for their software, which is not super affordable. Or like it's not economical for the business. Okay, so we're potentially looking at an NQ here. Kind of a weak close at the very end, which I don't necessarily like. So maybe put my bias towards wanting to wait a little bit. Just it went from 8:20 to 8:30 in that last like 5 seconds. Yeah, I think YouTube is better than Zoom as well, personally. We've been using YouTube for 5 years, so like I think it's plenty good. See, we're gonna wait on ES and NQ. I wouldn't say that I'm convinced by those stories yet. Or I should say, the volume isn't, or sorry, the candle close isn't telling me that it was strong enough. Just like a little bit of indecision at the end made me a little bit nervous. Excuse me. Yeah, again, guys, like I said, YouTube I think is the best best option because it's very easy. But if there continues to be a demand for something else, but yeah, like I don't think the latency is the issue. I really struggle to comprehend that as the excuse. Yeah, like Mike, I mean, I'll probably maybe speak for you a little bit here, but you've been with DTR for a very long time now. The majority of that time was exclusively on YouTube, and you did more than well enough, right? Trading under those torturous conditions, right? Yeah, not really a rush here. Made a pretty good decision to not chase this. Well, latency should only be an issue if your entry technique is waiting for me to say that I am in and then clicking your submit button when I say I'm in. But if you're doing what we recommend, right, which is me telling you what my price is, and then you click submit once it retests my price, latency should have nothing to do with it. Hey, Mike, congratulations. 3 years. I love to hear that, man. Appreciate that. What's one thing, Mike, you wish you knew before you started with DTR? Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. Or maybe I'll phrase it a little bit differently. What's one thing you wish you started sooner that maybe you were like resistant to at the beginning? Like looking back, what's like one mental hurdle you wish you got over sooner? Discipline. So what do you mean by discipline in that context? Just like only sticking to your trades? I kind of have a snail's pace open here a little bit. Good decision to have avoided this for now. So you can be patient. I'm gonna start sounding V8. ES really lacking on volume here. Which I think is maybe a little bit annoying. And Q, we have a little bit of a closer narrative to tradable, I guess. A relative term, but okay. CL, if we could possibly get that big rejection, right? That would be interesting. I mean, NQ, I would still play a breakout here to the upside, especially on the longer time frame, like a 5-minute time frame would be very appealing. We're 50 seconds to go on this volume candle. It's going to be close. So that's what I'm going to watch out for here. At the moment, right, our active setup is a breakout through the opening range, right? So it's the high vol breakout, right? We're looking for a separation away. And so now we need to see it both close above, right? We'll say 57, and then needs to close on increasing outlier volume, and then a candle that looks like candle 1, 2, or 3. So our setup, right, is active, and we're just looking for confirmation. I think with 10 seconds to go from a volume perspective, we're probably not going to hit confirmation. So, okay, did technically give us a setup, but no confirmation of that setup yet. We should get to increasing outlier volume here on the 3. Again, let's see if we can get ourselves a strong candle shape, strong close. Yeah, the volume on ES is weird. Okay, so we're watching here 650. Okay, 15 seconds. Let's see. It'll be close. I'd like to see it poke its head up above that white line. I'm not sure if it will. So I would have to say that that is not increasing outlier, right? It's just below. So for me, right, doesn't accomplish my binary confirmation standard. So again, I'm going to have to wait here. It's really interesting, Mike, how like every trader has a number of decisions that breaks them. And I think it's the thing that maybe a lot of people overrate their ability in being able to manage basically their head in a heavy trading day. Hey, congratulations. It's a great rip from 804. And so just, yeah, almost like forcing yourself to slow down actually sped you up, right? Like learning how to stick to your edge and only trading that and like developing almost the stubbornness around that effectively becomes life changing. Where there's this like, I've talked about this a little bit maybe on Friday, but how your short-term desire to make money and your long-term desire to build a winning system are kind of competing against each other, right? For your like brain power. And so, yeah, learning how to manage that, right, makes a lot of sense that was your biggest struggle. But really well done, man, for fighting through that. 3 years of DTR should be celebrated for sure. Again, kind of just a shocking volume on ES. 100%. It's never too late to turn it around. If you guys read the Market Wizard series, I would highly recommend reading those sets of books or listening to them as an audio book or finding segments online. But at the end of one of the books, there's a graphic that talks about there's a maybe you have a pre-market volume that you're looking at also there. But yeah, so these market wizards, right? These are people that are making, tens of millions of dollars a year, world class, elite of the elite traders. And at the end, there's like a spreadsheet, I guess, of like how much they made and how long it took them to become profitable. And none of the people that had that tremendous success were profitable day one, trade one, and never looked back, right? A lot of the most profitable people had journeys where it took them 5 years, 10 years, even some people. And it just takes, there is a learning curve to learning how to survive. Again, decreasing volume there on that 5 min where I can't trade it, which is really annoying because it is moving the way that we would expect, but it just didn't quite give me the confirmation standard I needed, which is dumb. That's all right. If a trade is strong, it'll give us more than one chance to enter. Appreciate you, Mike. Look, the reality, right, with say this all the time with trading, is we're all in this together by ourselves. And I know that sounds maybe terrible, but we all have our own little problems and demons that we got to learn how to fix and solve. And the market is my favorite way to learn how to gamify those problems. And the more that we choose to like be selfish in how we solve those things, generally the better our life goes, right? Because like how Mike reacts to blowing an account or what does whatever, right? It's different for everyone. It's a little bit of a different journey for everyone, and we should be willing to be, or we should be willing to embrace, right, our unique path and not hope that we have someone else's. I know that's, maybe a little bit cliche and a little bit ridiculous, but we make a lot more money and we get a lot better when we basically get obsessive over fixing our own problems, not trying to learn how to manage someone else's, if that makes sense. Like none of us are perfect here. And so that's the point is not for us to try to be perfect. The point for us is to try to get better. And if we focus on just getting a little bit better each and every day, and we learn how to survive in the market, then we all get the outcome that we're looking for. Yeah, I would challenge everyone to pursue that as selfishly as you can. Mike, I would really appreciate that. That would be awesome. And I want, and Mike, hope you don't take this as an insult, right? I mean this in the best way possible. But trading is like the ultimate equal opportunity employer, right? Market doesn't care who you are or like what you went through or what trauma you've had or what your boss thinks of you or where you went to school or what your gender or race is. It does not care. It makes absolutely zero difference. All it cares about is your ability to fix your problems. And so if Mike can do it, right? If Mike can fight through and survive and basically learn how to fight through his learning curve, then you can too. It's not like, and again, Mike, I don't mean this as an insult, but it's not like you have a world-class level of intelligence or it's not like you're the world's smartest person in the same way that I'm not, right? Or Leia isn't, or Sonia isn't, or Rusty isn't. We're all just humans and we're all just kind of like self-sabotaging idiots at heart. And the more that we can learn how to ignore those impulsive feelings, the better life goes, right? And I think there's a really big, powerful element to like social peer pressure where you can see someone else be disciplined and you can see what they're doing and you can see the structure that they're creating in their lives and you'll see how much you can improve yours, right? So yeah, again, Mike, really appreciate you sharing your story with us this morning. It's very powerful and I really do appreciate it, man. Okay, so again, we're at 10 a.m. here. Not really the volume standards I was hoping for so far. Yes, a little bit better. Increasing on the 10. You'd be looking at a 724 target here. And you'd probably want the pullback technique. It's probably the only way to justify the risk reward ratio. What I would like to see here is probably there just being like a little bit of a fake out. Like some sort of bearish failure, right? If I could see it. Now on the 10-minute time frame, we're gonna have a lot of time for this setup to come together. Hell yeah, Mike. Yeah, then you understand the dopamine rush, right? That trading can give you. Definitely joked about this with some of my buddies, especially when I first started trading. But it was like if you don't know what you're doing, trading slash investing is like socially approved gambling. Come on, volume. Get there. 20 seconds. Come on. Want it to close above that as well. Again, close, but not enough. Let's see if it closes on the 5. Wife sounds like a pretty brave woman for giving you a chance for a second chance. Pretty lucky, man. Oh no, Mike. I don't think anyone's complaining. We really appreciate your story, dude. I'm looking for volume to get above this white line and increasing relative to the previous candle. So my confirmation standard is increasing an outlier. So increasing is relative to previous bar, outlier is relative to the white line. So this is technically increasing in outlier volume, but we failed to close above 880. So no confirmation there. Very muted start to the day. I don't know what I expected. I expected maybe a little bit busier this morning. Yeah, it's just a lack of volume that's just slowing me down just a little bit. Pretty indecisive names on, or pretty indecisive moves on our leading names here so far. And all I'm doing here, team, right, is as I'm bouncing between time frames, just trying to see, which one is closest to maybe giving me a signal or a volume standard that I can trade. So I'm just bouncing between to see which time frame gives me the first signal to act. So far, I haven't had one, which is fine. Bit boring, but it is fine. That's good. I'll get trades here today. No big deal. I mean, maybe. Kind of looks like that's yesterday's or Friday's high a day. For me, it's not. I don't have a confirmation here of being able to trade this move, right? So the 10 min on NQ is still missing that increasing outlier volume. It's been outlier volume, but decreasing relative to the previous bar for the first 40 minutes of the day. A single red candle on the CL 5 min is a little bit interesting. And again, guys, right? My job here as a trader is not to try to catch every move or to catch every bit of price action. That's unrealistic. My job is to sit and wait until the market gives me my A plus setup. And I basically have to be willing to ignore everything else in between. There are very often times where I feel like, I see a move, I'll make money off of this. And yeah, I maybe will once or twice or 3 times. But that's me trading my ego, not me trading a system or a plan or something that is consistently repeatable. Because if I'm wrong on that, right, it's really hard to accept those moves because I took that trade thinking, oh, let me take an exception because this is going to go in this direction, right? You start to feed the ego, you start to chase the feeling more than the process. And again, that's a really successful way to behave until it isn't. And then it just like blows up in your face and everything goes catastrophically wrong. And so, as much as we're trying to, make as much money as we possibly can, the primary way you get that, or like the first starting point on how you get that, right, or how you get there, is simply by being a good loser and learning how to control yourself from making bad decisions. And once you learn how to survive long enough in the market and you learn how to manage your dopamine effectively, that's when you can start to make really big money. So having the structure in place, the mental capital in place, however you want to describe it, to not chase your B setups, it's a lot more boring, but it's a lot more profitable. And yeah, it sucks to it be a Monday morning. We all woke up early to be here. We don't have any action so far. But the second we start to feel as if the market owes us something or I'm owed a win because I did XYZ, you're just like setting yourself up to get your butt kicked. So I would really fight back against that level of complacency effectively and focus on the variables you can control, which means sticking to your system, following your rules, delaying that gratification as much as you can, and just getting comfortable playing for the bigger prize. Because a singular trade is good, guys, right? It makes you some money, it feels awesome, but none of us are one trade away from being rich, right? Like it's not there. Right? At least not one reasonable trade. So we have to play for that bigger prize because that's the only way that we get the objective that we want out of life or out of the market. And if that means I have to be bored, sweet, no big deal. Like if this is what a tough day at the office looks like or a boring day at the office looks like, I am incredibly blessed, right? So just a reminder, guys, we get paid for our decisions, not our time. Stop attaching your time as being valuable to trading or as if it's a justification to take a trade. The only thing we are owed on a daily basis is the opportunity to sit and watch. We're not guaranteed to trade. We're not guaranteed to win. We're not guaranteed a loss. All we have is the opportunity to sit and watch and see if the market wants to behave that way. When all of our stars line up and we get good tradable opportunities, we make a lot of money. When we compromise things in between, we get on this roller coaster that becomes impossible to get off of. And we just trade until we lose everything. And that's not the way you win. DL a close but no cigar on that rejection. That's a shame. I would be very, very interested in that if we can get it. And so again, this would be a fake out setup, and then we're looking for increasing outlier volume as our confirmation. So we do have the volume standard here now. I got 20 seconds to go. Let's see how this candle closes. Best close would be under that blue line, right? Under 86. Well, let's see if we put enough good juju out into the market here today. I mean, that's fine. Like if it closes here, it's fine. Closed right at it. That's okay. And so now stop loss, I'd probably go high of day, right? Normally in this circumstance, I'd be looking for a stop loss at the high of my confirmation candle, but high of day is like 1 cent more. So why not, right? Just have it there. A little bit of an extra opportunity. Now, here's I guess the kicker, right? This is the first red candle we've seen on the 5-min all day. I would like to see just a little bit more evidence of bulls failing here in some context first. So what we've described that in the past, right, is it effectively behaving like a fake out or seeing bulls fail, right, prior to us jumping in. We've got a pretty good look here right now, but I still would like to be a little bit more patient with my entry timing. You know, as much as I would like this to be a breakdown, it's still very much range bound conditions, right? Between that 62.01 and we'll say 61.84. So let's see those bulls fail here now, and then we should be able to get like a trap door type move where like the market kind of gets pulled out underneath it. So lots of time here, no rush. And it's like, all right, is CL now going to get off of that 6190? Slow. Okay, so again, just be patient here, team. So yeah, Hunter, the like you're saying, prices bounced off of 6186 3 times in a row. But I'm not disagreeing with, right? That's why we want to see bulls fail here post confirmation so that we have conviction, right? That we are going to get a move through and under. That's exactly why we're slowing down, right? So we've seen price action stall. So base success or base idea here, right, is price action is going to behave like it always has until proven otherwise. So the proven otherwise we're looking for here now, right, is bulls failing. And again, we have not missed out on anything on CL here yet. So our patience so far is being rewarded. Right? Best case scenario, we would have been early on this trade and draining mental capital by the second. That's a best case scenario. I wouldn't say that's a very good best case. All right, I'm going to go fill up my cup of coffee here. Give me a second. All right, so still in play. Little inside bar, right? Doesn't hurt any feelings. Okay, so let's see if we can get a little fake out here. We gotta stop. Okay. Well, again, let's see if we can get the fake out. I feel very vindicated in waiting here so far. Oh, hello. That was an explosion. That was a big order, guys. That was a very big order. Just under. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on NQ. We can get that breakout through 900. Could be interesting. Or yeah, exactly like you're saying, Texas Trader. There could be that fake out, right, to potentially play that reversal lower. So that's a pretty good spot for us to be keeping an eye out, right? We've got two setups here that are potentially in play. Either have the high vol breakout, right, above previous high a day, or you have a reversal spot here, right, that could be coming together as well. Let's keep an eye on CL, right? That's creeping up. It's going to require some multi candle analysis here, or sorry, multi-chart analysis. Just keep track of everything. It kind of looks a fake out. Not a clear enough one there yet on CL. On close, like a pathetic loser. Okay, still gonna have to wait on CL. Higher high, higher low on increasing volume. Kind of not what you want to see. Let's see if NQ could hold here. Didn't on the 3. So again, we'll try this on the 5. Even though it didn't hold on the 3, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a very clear fake out example here yet. Too close. So we're just going to pass on the burden of confirmation to a longer time frame here and just buy ourselves some time to make a decision. Would like to get closer to 900 personally. It's going to hold. It's going to hold on increasing volume, not quite outlier volume. Kind of weird because I can talk myself into this as being tradable, or like as if it's justifiable, I should say, is maybe a better way of describing it. Again, let's see if we can get some sort of failure first. Looking at an 85 stop loss. Entry of 94. So 9 points of risk, very tight. Guess what yeah, like if I were to trade this, I would probably trade this on the 2-min time frame. Then I can maybe get a tighter risk reward even. Like potentially there's your bearish failure. Like as much as I want to trade this on the 5, that volume's fucking shit. Sorry to curse like that. But that volume is really bad. it's objectively poor. Oh, I can't be hyper aggressive. All right, let's keep being patient here. Okay, let's keep watching here. No, John, don't do multi-time frame analysis like that, right? Look at each time frame as independent of the other one. Because what you're going to do, right, is you're going to use your confirmation bias to either talk yourself into your trades or talk yourself out of trades, right? Just whatever you're most afraid of, you're just going to talk yourself into, or what you want subconscious, going to talk yourself into that outcome. So no, keep it smooth and simple and consistent. Don't mix it up. So very, very interesting here, right? We're starting to get that potential little reaction to 900. Let's see how this thing closes. There's potentially your failure, right? And so that 900 would be targeting a move towards 25K. Huge. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily expect that to happen, but looks reasonable. So let's watch this. It's on the 3-min, right? Increasing an outlier. Nice little breakout there above 900. Okay, so again, my stop loss for now would be 887. And my reference price, 894. If it goes aggressive, right, then we'll go stop 898, right? Reference price 906. And then my reference price, right, is just a retest of previous high a day. What about it's painful? What does that mean? Okay, so watching here, guys, nice and slow. Hey guys, so I am in average price 894 on the dot. Let's see. Three contracts. A little bit slower maybe than I would have wanted post entry. Let's see if we can go. Yeah, I think I'm early on this a little bit. Come on, go, go, go. But I do feel maybe a little bit early on this. The reaction post entry has been less enthusiastic than I would have wanted. I would have kind of expected on a little pullback under 900 for 900 to act like a magnet and to it almost be like a rocket ship back up towards it. And now we keep stalling at 900, right? Like 899.75, that kind of stuff. I don't know. That entry, yeah. There was this reaction post entry has not made me feel great. Come on, get over 99. There's 900. Now pop, baby, pop. And something about this still just feels weird to me or feels off. But it's behaving better, so I gotta stop being a pussy, I guess. I don't think I've ever called myself that in a trade before. Okay, here it goes. Here it goes. So that's pushing 700, 750. Let's see if we can get a nice breakout. I will not let this trade go red at this point, team, right? This is more than a 1R move, or this move is larger than the risk I had on this trade. So I will ensure that I'm finishing above a $500 win here. Like mentally, I don't or from a price action perspective, I don't think anything here has told me that my idea is wrong, but my gut is telling me that it's stalling or maybe not as enthusiastic as I hoped. It's almost like it's trying to grind out before it makes its pop. I don't know if I want to be a part of that. Let's see how this candle closes. No, it's just when I say I'm not going to let this trade go red, is my finger is on the button here, right? I'm going to look for an exit if it gets close to my entry price. I don't like trailing stop losses. They bother me. If I want to get out of a trade, I want to be focusing on getting out as my P&L is increasing, not as my P&L is decreasing. That's a losing combo. So I think most people use a trailing stop loss because subconsciously they're afraid that their idea is wrong and now they want to protect themselves. So why not just close it when your P&L is at its peak instead of giving back, $300 or $400 or whatever it is. I'm still in this for now. Let's see how this candle closes, right? A close above high a day, really positive. Close under, less so. Closed under. Now as we can get some one more decent pop here, and I'm going to have to look to get out. Come on. I want the same level of explosion we got on this candle. That's kind of what we've been missing this entire time. And that's probably why I'm worried that there isn't that enthusiasm, because we saw it on one candle very aggressively and then it stalled out. And so that it's a little bit of a paranoia thing. But really good trade here, team, right? So I'm going to be looking for an exit here very soon, or as next little quick pop up and over. Let's see if we can get it. I want 910, and maybe it's bad to hunt for a specific number like that. Let's even keep going just a little bit more. We're so close. Maybe 911. Never forget. All right, guys, I am out. 910.75, 910.75, all out. All out. Nice work, team. Let's go. Oh, fuck me. Should have held. But that's okay. That is okay. This candle is the reason I got out, right? So based on my system, I need 2 out of 3 things to continue to hold the trade. So I need to see it holding higher highs. I need increasing volume, and I need strong candle shape. We got 1 out of 3 things on that one, and that's why I needed to close as P&L is increasing. Probably could have done a little bit better closing on that bigger pop, but I'll take it. A little bit over $1,000 on that. I can't really complain. That's a good trading day. Nice work, team. Let's go, Chris. $1,200. Nice work. Let's go, Shiv. Well done, Michaela. So again, we got maybe a little bit unlucky closing it here instead of 917 or whatever. But a win's a win. It's a good process. And the reason I think, guys, why I'm going to say this out loud, the reason why I closed that trade where I did, if I'm just replaying what I said in my mind, Like I wanted that 910 and then I wanted that 911. Never forget. It was because that made my P&L $1,000 on the day, right? So I was in a trade and I felt like I was maybe no longer as strong in my thesis as I was prior to entry. And then I had a P&L target in mind, right? So that's not a good thing. Where I had a number in my mind, it means that I was feeling like greedy, right, in that position, or that I was feeling emotional or something along those lines, right? So I got locked in on a dollar figure, not necessarily on a price action reaction. And once I feel that, right, I need my muscle memory needs to be to get out, because greedy or decisions that are held on by greed or because of an emotional reaction usually work in the moment and punish you in the future. And so the greed, I think, comes from in this situation, right, of not feeling super confident post entry, where I wasn't getting that nice reaction. And then all of a sudden you get that breakout, you're starting to feel that P&L feel good. And you get that divergence between, hey, I was wrong, or I felt like maybe I wasn't as correct as I could have been, to then being my P&L is feeling good. And I don't want to be making decisions because my P&L feels good or because my P&L feels bad. So again, I left a little bit of money on the table here, but I think from like remaining in control perspective, I don't feel like I did anything wrong. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's a good day. Let's go, Derek. Nice work. $1,000, $1,200 on the session. So 895 was a stop loss. Once you're protecting, I get it, Brooke. But again, I would focus on not allowing yourself to trade your P&L, right? Like if you're scared that your P&L is going to go away and you want to make sure it doesn't turn into a loss, take the $400 or the $500 or whatever it is, get impartial and try to jump in again if another opportunity comes up. I will say from personal experience, the big reason why I don't like pushing a stop loss up and protecting a win is because I find if I see myself, let's say in this trade, right, I was up $1,000 and then I see myself finish up 100 or up 200 or up $300, it doesn't feel like a $300 win. It feels like I lost $700. So like there's I don't know, like there's a little bit of a larger tilt potential for myself personally, I would say, of being up a lot, seeing that P&L evaporate, and then feeling like an idiot for not taking the win when it was there. Right? So when I say that I'm not going to let this trade go red, Brooke, my desire is to close as P&L is increasing, not to panic close effectively. So for me, the most tilting trade is going from green, big green win, to small green win or red. And so the only way that I can avoid that sensation is closing as P&L is increasing. Yeah, good day here, team. Good day. But do you get what I mean by that, Brooke? So like maybe from a like theoretical back test, whatever you want to call it, right? Maybe that is a more profitable way to do it. But in reality, for me, it's not, or it's not like the easiest way to get there. I'll make less mistakes when I avoid getting stopped out on winning trades. Sounds good, Scott. Well done, man. Time for the eval pretty soon here. But yeah, I'm going to go 1 for 1 on the day, right? I don't think I'm going to place another trade. Yeah, that's not worth it, Jeanette, right? It's better to go now enjoy the rest of your morning. Go have a nice coffee, go walk the dog, do something nice, go enjoy your life than to become a slave to our screens, right? Good, good. And I think a lot of it is people have maybe a very large misconception over what profitable trading actually is, right? Like it's not just staring at your screens all day and placing 1,000 trades and hoping by the end of it you're lucky. It's so much more a game of decisions, not time. If every day I'm pulling $1,000 out of the market per account, it's a pretty good life. I don't have to worry about much. And it's very easy to forget that in the moment, right? Trading makes us very numb to numbers, where it's like we made $1,000 there per account in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. John, did you have a tough week last week? Again, the psychology is the hardest part always, right? It's the battle that we all have to fight, and we'll never we'll never be victorious in it. It's just how can we survive? So what are your thoughts on changing chart colors away from red and green to help reduce emotional trading? I think that is it's bullshit. The reason why I say that, right, is that's not the way to approach fixing emotional trading decisions. It's not your chart that is tricking you into making trades. It is you, right? So the first, like you want to attack it from a first principles approach. It is not the color of the candles that is making you emotional. It is your lack of a system. It is your poor risk management. It is your short-term thinking where each win or loss is feeding your ego that is creating those emotional decisions. Changing the chart color is not going to fix those problems, right? It's a distraction away from the work that you're trying to avoid. I reckon if you think deep down and reflect on your trading, there's probably something else there that is bothering you a lot more. And I would recommend focusing on that. The colors are irrelevant. You'll very quickly associate purple with green and brown with red. It won't make a difference. So I would push you to confront the thing that you're avoiding, because it isn't the colors on your screen that are going to make you profitable. Let's go, Ian. Congratulations. So I would say no, Shiv. I like based on our system, we did a really good job exiting where we did, right? So this is my confirmation candle. This is my entry candle, right, on the pullback technique. And so there's nothing here post entry that invalidates my trade until this candle, right? So post entry here, inside bar, Nothing right or wrong with that, right? Fine. Second candle here, inside bar, but you're above entry price and we're holding above 900. And then third candle here, that's our first quote unquote failed breakout, right? Or our first view that price action isn't behaving strong. And then we closed on effectively a retest of that high. So I don't think that we should have closed earlier because there was no signal to get out. There was no objective signal to get out. We got out once we had that objective reason to say, hey, our thesis is no longer as strong as it could be. And that was the point where we did. What I would potentially review here is there should be a video. I think it's in the start here section. It's called Advanced Risk Management Techniques. And Advanced Risk Management. Video number 5 in the start here section. And it basically talks about how we want to judge candle by candle around breakouts based on those rules. We want to get those 2 out of 3 things, right? So we want to see hold higher highs on increasing volume, strong candle shape. That for me would have been a reason to hold. We only got 1 out of those 3 things, right? We only had the increasing volume. So if I get 1 out of 3, I got to look to get out. And that's exactly what we did there. And yeah, okay, maybe could have closed a little bit higher, could have closed an extra 10 points or something. But I'm not sure if that's anything to lose sleep over. Yeah, for sure. And I'm the same way, right? I hate seeing big wins turn into losses. It is the single most tilting and frustrating thing that can happen to me as a trader, at least in my personal experience, especially once I feel that greed, right? So it's like feeling greedy and then getting punished for it and losing money. It feels so much worse than the $500 or whatever the number is. Not enough volume to play the reversal. How's everyone feeling today? Everyone feeling good? Everyone happy with their trading day? Everyone green? Importantly. How about my YouTubers? Everyone green? Let's go, Sonia. Good work, Chris. Nice work, Hunter. Good job. So already talked about that, handcrafted. What that means, right, is I'm not willing to take a loss, is that I've got my finger on the trigger. I don't like pushing my stop loss higher. And once I say that, my emphasis, right, is close as P&L is increasing. Close as P&L is increasing. So that's all I'm looking for, right? That then becomes my focus, is I'm looking for a retest of that previous high, and then I'm looking to get out. So it's just focus on closing as P&L is increasing. In reality, right, if I'm risking, let's say $500 on a trade, and then I'm up $500, and then I turn that into a $500 loss, I didn't lose $500 there. I lost $1,000. So once I'm up more than the amount I have risked on a trade, by hook or by crook, I need to finish green on that, right? And for myself, the emphasis is on focusing on closing as my P&L is increasing, because that for me removes a lot of my FOMO and it gives me a thing to focus on, right? So it kind of then builds off of some of those, like, it's the opposite of going on tilt, right? If my tilt behavior is being up a lot and then panic closing and seeing that P&L evaporate, The opposite of that, right, is closing as P&L is increasing. And so I maintain as much mental capital as I can in that situation. And we did a really good job of that here today. Maybe we could have, again, held on for another 5-10 points, fine. But at that point, we're saying, right, that our trade is at best likely to stall or run out of momentum or doesn't have the enthusiasm to hit our 25,000, right, which was our target on this trade, which we're not wrong on, right? It's that move is effectively stalled. What we don't know once we get that signal is if that stall is going to happen the next candle, 5 candles from now, whatever, right? So the gamble then becomes at which point does it turn around? And so the way to hedge that, right, or to avoid the gamble is to say, okay, this is my signal to get out. I should look to get out in the candle preceding, right, my signal. And that's exactly what we did on that trade. So if I want to be picky, you know, maybe my perfect exit would have been 918.75. I'm not going to beat myself up on that though, because that's not really the point. Once my idea is wrong, I'm looking for as not as strong as I expected, which is a gentle way of saying that I'm wrong. I would rather get out, get impartial, lock in my win, and not feel FOMO. And the reason that, right, is the case, if I close at the high of the move, I don't see what my P&L was on this next, say, 15 points, right? So there's no like subconscious attachment to that number. There's no feeling as if I'm owed that extra win. There's none of that. I can be kind of just happy and satisfied with how I traded. And I can remove a lot of that like expectation that we place on ourselves, right? To really go from there. So we trade with futures, Langston, and we recommend doing that with prop firms. And by doing that with prop firms, right, you can remove a lot of your risk as a trader, and you can also get a lot more upside. So that's the way that we focus on here. The system that we trade and the strategy and the technique that we trade is kind of optimized to be able to make money using other people's capital instead of having to focus on your own. And so it allows you to kind of create that proof of concept, make your first 100K, and then not have to worry about those margin requirements. Let's go, Kyle. $1,600 on the day. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. It's a great session. So what we're trying to create, Langston, is basically asymmetric upside in our trading decisions. And I think prop firms trading futures at the moment is the best way to accomplish that. Options are fun to trade and all this kind of stuff, but going long calls, long puts is a lot harder to make money than it is going long on futures. There's so many extra layers of complication that erode your edge trading options that I think if you committed to the prop firm route and you created that proof of concept, you would actually find execution to be much simpler. Hey, appreciate that, Kyle. Keep killing it, man. Like I said, we're all in this together by ourselves, right? No one here is forcing you to pull the trigger to click submit or to click sell. We all have to make that decision for ourselves. And so you should give yourself a lot of credit too. Yeah. Any other questions here, team? Nine-minute trade today. That's awesome. And yeah, should have held on, but that's okay. That's what we did a lot of that last week, right? Last week we really did that. I want more of it. Like the sweet spot for me, I think, as a trader is one trade a day in the morning, nice and early, get a nice win, and then your coffee just tastes better. Yeah, guys, I don't think I'm going to place another trade here. I'm pretty happy. 1029.94 on the day per account. Like, I can't really complain. All right, guys, final call for questions here. Final call for questions. You too, Joe. Have yourself a great day, man. I appreciate that, Joel. And yeah, look, guys, I'm not perfect, right? I'm a deeply flawed human, and I don't want to hide that. I think it's important to not pretend I'm perfect. And I'm gonna have times where I trade really well, and I'm gonna have times where I make mistakes, and I need to learn from them, and I need to improve. And hopefully, it's my ability to share that and to be transparent about that process and to show you guys what that's like that will teach you a lot. Because as fun as trading is as a career, it is not all just higher highs. There's a lot of ups and downs. You have to have a lot of self-reflection with yourself. You have to be extremely honest with yourself, and that's hard to see sometimes. I think especially on social media, everyone wants to show you that they are like just perfect, right? They've got the hairline from Turkey, the veneers at 27. They've got the OnlyFans girlfriend. They've got the supercar, and nothing in their life has ever been wrong or challenging or difficult. And that's like so bullshit and fugazi. Everyone struggles. Everyone has moments where they get their butt kicked. Everyone has days where the market's not good to them. And learning how to survive those days, learning how to fight through some of those like moments where your self-talk makes you feel like a piece of shit, it's really important. So yeah, I don't ever promise you guys that it'll always be pretty in here, but I always promise that I'll be honest and I'll share with you the ups and downs. I think for those of you who've been with me for a long time, know that I'm not very good at hiding the downs very well. And so that's just what this game is, right? That's just what it is. And so I think the more that we can embrace that, the more that we realize what it's like in reality, easier it is to actually win long term. And it sucks. It sucks to lose and sucks to be embarrassed, but the only way we get better is to make mistakes, learn from them, and then not make the same mistakes twice. And that's the life we've chosen to live. All right, guys, final call here. Final call. Hey, well done, Mike. All right. So if no further questions, guys, I'm going to kill the stream here for the day. Same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But really good trading day here, team. Really proud of the little progress, right? And the steps we're taking to keep getting just a little bit better, keep improving. And you know what's beautiful? Our P&L is sitting at all-time highs, right? That's about as nice as you can possibly see here from a trading perspective. I think that's what, 6 or 7 green days in a row? 5 green days in a row. So that's pretty awesome. And that's what we do, guys, right? We stack up wins, we compound good decisions, we put ourselves in good situations. We do like a victory lap for about 15 minutes, and then we review, we get better, we clear our heads, and we don't bring that baggage into the next trading day. So hope you all had yourselves a great one. Really proud of everyone. Mike, really appreciate you sharing your story with us and for celebrating your 3rd year with DTR with absolute and total freedom. You should be very proud of yourself, man. That is the ultimate objective and target to go for, and I'm sure very inspirational for everyone here. And yeah, guys, very, very proud of you all for fighting through, for being structured, for getting better each day. I've said this before, I'll say it again. A winning trade feels good for about 5 minutes, but seeing like Mike's story, I'm going to be thinking about that all day. So there's a lot of glory in us winning together as a team. It feels really awesome. And I really appreciate the community that we all have here, and for everyone being so supportive with each other, of being cheerleaders for other members, for answering questions and for helping people out. I couldn't ask for a better group of people to spend every morning with. So thank you all for making this a really fun community to be a part of. And really looking forward to trading with you guys again tomorrow. So have yourselves a great one, team, and we'll catch up then. Peace.